Hey girly pops, today we're going to revisit some of the weirdest brand deal decisions some of the Premier League teams have made throughout their time in the league. I understand sometimes money is tight, sometimes options are limited, and sometimes the love of money corrupts. That's all I can say. Because some of you were giving Sydney Sweeney in the most derogatory way possible, like any brand deal will do as long as it gives me a bag. And I think we need a bit more discernment in some of our decision making because brand alignment nowhere to be found with some of these decisions. I'm gonna rank my favorite as in best, even though it's weird, I really enjoy it. And why the hell did you think this was a good idea? At the end of the video, we'll just lay it all out for you, but let's get into it. A decision that to this day still boggles my mind. As a Manchester United fan, their partnership with Yanmar Tractors was bizarre to say the least. I think most people were scratching their heads confused as to why this was the company they decided to go with, but who knows what goes on in the back office. But ultimately though, let's not forget about the supporters that live in the countryside. Maybe they are purchasing tractors, maybe they are getting the best benefit out of this partnership. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's really hitting your target demographic. And realistically, which one of your players is most representative of the tractor market? I would say zero. So for that, I have to give it a no. Something that people found weird, but I actually understand. Purcell partnering with Arsenal.
Can you sign my shirt, please?
Of course.
Mom, where'd you put my shirt?
New improved Persil capsules remove the toughest stains first time, even the ones you don't want to.
We'll fix it.
There are stains you don't want to wash. For all others, use Persil with first-time stain removal. Keep away from children.
Everyone wears clothes, everyone needs to watch them, and especially a football club who goes through so much laundry in a day, let alone a week. I think this was actually very economical decision making on their part. Imagine getting free laundry care for the rest of your life. I don't know about you, but that is a good deal. In this economy, that would be a dream. So I'll have to give them their stars for that one. That was a great decision on their part. Okay, throughout many a sport, there are alcohol sponsors. Usually it's beer. So Aston Villa's decision to partner with a vodka brand was a choice. Yeah, their partnership with Nemiroff was confusing to say the least. I think they wanted to be different. They wanted to stand out. And you know what? I have to give them points for that. They wanted to be cooler than the cool kids. If we can't be cool, you know, on the log, we can at least be cool with our brand partnerships. And so with that, I'll give them, they attempted something. Did it make sense to everyone? Absolutely not, but maybe we just can't see the vision yet. Man City choosing to work with Kellogg's seems, how do you say, innocuous. However, most Kellogg cereals are not what you would call nutrient dense, and so I don't really associate Kellogg's with health, and so I don't associate it with top athletes. And because of that, I would have to say this was a misaligned decision. Yes, we all probably eat cereal, so on that front, you're making your cash, but it's not really aligned with the ideals of a sports team. And because of that, I'll have to say you missed with that one. I'm sorry, you tried something, it didn't work. Another nutritionally misaligned decision was Wolves partnering with Doritos back in the day. Primarily, again, not the healthiest food option, not the most nutrient dense. I don't see a group of athletes sitting around eating Doritos in their free time. However, I feel like this one's a little bit more aligned because maybe at home people watching the game would be eating their Doritos on their couch. So that alone makes me think that this was a little bit better aligned to the target audience than the Kellogg's brand deal was. However, the logo itself also clashed very heavily with the team's kit at the time, and so maybe that was the wrong move, ultimately just because of aesthetics. And as much as people say they don't care about how things look, I think we all know that's a lie.
1 week later.
As I'm editing this, I'm realizing there's also a large ad campaign that is for Lay's with a bunch of footballers involved, including Lionel Messi. And so maybe they actually weren't that weird for doing a Doritos ad at the time. Maybe it was just strange because of the time that it was happening, as opposed to the concept itself. Who knows? But yeah, just forgot about that completely while I was making that video. But actually, yeah, that makes perfect sense now that I'm looking at current sponsorships. A partnership that I think some people think is weird, but I believe was actually ahead of its time. Not to glaze Man United too much, but their partnership with Wi-Fi provider Extreme Networks. I don't know about you, but some of us are watching these games on stream, advertising your Wi-Fi network company while I'm watching the game on my Wi-Fi would maybe make me think, maybe I should work with that provider. Arsenal choosing to partner with Dreamcast of all the console companies out there. There was PlayStation, there was Nintendo.
Like, if you're a broke boy, just say so.
There were so many, and yet you picked Dreamcast. It's giving real loser behavior. Like, no wonder you could not win a championship with this energy in the room. Like, it just felt like you were making loser decisions back to back to back to back. Because ultimately Dreamcast failed. Luckily you got out before that had to happen, but I think this was a sign of the times. You were never going to win a championship if you didn't even pick a winning sponsor. Speaking of loser decisions, West Ham partnering with Excel.
What was the reason? What was the reason?
Not only was it bizarre, it also failed. And so they were stuck with a defunct brand on their jersey. Obviously, they were forced by the league, ultimately another situation where you came out the loser, to cover it some way, somehow, because you could not have a sponsor representative that was no longer in service. Just loser behavior all around. I don't have too many thoughts beyond that. Unlucky for them, but maybe you need to reevaluate your decision-making skills. Arsenal's partnership with Imperial Bank was quite strange. They came up with a debit card with the Arsenal team, I believe. That didn't really make sense to me. Someone who allegedly got involved with the scam, Aston Villa, partnering with HomeServe.
Oh, cold today, Keith, innit? Yeah, you're not wrong. I've got to remind my wife to turn the heating on. It was freezing last night when I got in.
No, you wouldn't need to do that if you had a Tado, mate. It's amazing.
Well, what's a Tado?
It knows when I'm on the way home, and it turns the heating on. And then it turns it down when I leave. See that imaginary line over there? When I cross that, the Tado turns the heating down. It saved me money.
And when I say allegedly, they were fined for £30 million by the UK's Financial Conduct Authority for mis-selling insurance policies and mishandling customer complaints. So the brand was giving scam. Another time where maybe Aston Villa, we should have done a bit more due diligence into who we were getting involved with. I know the money is nice, but was the bag big enough? I don't think so. Like, it's giving that in the people involved in this situation, in the big year of 2020, they might have gotten involved with a crypto scam if it looked good enough to them. Just an opinion. I'm not making any accusations. Burnley's decision to partner with Totally Wicked, an e-cigarette company, was another one that's just got me scratching my head. Like, how is this brand aligned? Again, athletes, cigarettes. Two of these things are not the same. I don't think there should be an alignment between smoking and athletic ability. Literally, chalk and cheese, oil and water, they will never mix, in my opinion. I know there's athletes that smoke, but please stop. Like, it's really bad for your health. Besides the fact that it literally reduces your VO2 max and makes you literally have less breath capacity. Let's not get into the physiology of it all, but I just think those two things definitely should not go together. Like, we should not be encouraging smoking in the same breath that we're legitimately running a professional sports team. Just an opinion.
I may not have a brain, gentlemen, but I have an idea.
Man United, another egregious offence. Mammy noodles. However, I understand it was for your plan to expand more greatly into the Asian market, and so for that I have to give you your props.
Happy school holidays! Ready for some fun?
Sure, huge! You'd be with Mummy Monster and Manchester United!
Ah, let's play together!
Cuba bola ni. Selamat bercuti.
Mommy.
Newcastle United.
If you're a broke boy, just say so.
Perfect marketing, Fenwick's. Not so great, Papa John's. Why again are we promoting I don't know if you would call it malnutrition. Let's say poor nutritional choices for your viewers. However, this maybe sits in the same camp as the Doritos. Although the players themselves are probably not indulging in Papa John's on the regular, the people watching it, maybe hosting a watch party, are eating Papa John's while they watch the game. So maybe I am behind, and you guys are doing 40 chess. You're thinking about the target audience and their consumption habits as opposed to those of the players on the squad. So again, I think maybe I just needed to look at this in a more worldly, bag-focused view. And finally, we have Man City's partnership with Harold Turkey.
The world is going through bad days. Our travels, our works, most importantly, our health is in danger. We have a feature that distinguishes us from other living beings. Not giving up. We are happy to announce a great partnership for those who believe in second chances. Now, Manchester City HWT Clinic. Now is the time to give yourself another chance.
Just a little bit embarrassing primarily, actually. What did the article say? If you've seen any of the players come back with new luscious locks, you know where they came from. But everyone wants to be beautiful. So I guess it makes sense to promote hair plugs to the community, doing them a favor, doing God's work, providing them with opportunities to elevate their appearance. I can't fault you for it. Just a bit, yeah, embarrassing, a bit cringe. But ultimately, someone's gonna get that bag, and if it wasn't you, it'd be someone else. So I support it. And so to wrap it all up, our most egregious offender, I would have to say, was that home serve deal for Aston Villa. Although it wasn't the weirdest one on the list, it was potentially, allegedly, somewhat scammy in its business practices. And so because of that, it's the biggest loser of the list. And then ultimately the one I actually have to give props to as one of the more industrious decisions. One I didn't understand at first, but the more I thought about it, the more I understood. That Doritos partnership. You know what? You're right. I'm probably going to be sitting back eating a snack while I watch the game. And so if Doritos is the first thing on my mind, what do you think I'm most likely to associate with watching football? And I will continuously buy to watch the football. Doritos. So you know what? The subliminal messaging worked on me, and that was a phenomenal partnership decision. Because it stands out so strongly as well against the jersey. So you're never going to miss that. Doritos, your marketing department did their big one with that decision. But that's it for this one. Like, comment, subscribe down below. Name any of your weirdest or most bizarre head-scratching brand deals you feel like teams have participated in the past. Let me know down below. And until next time, I'll see you in the next one.